another piece of news that came out of it, which is almost another quid pro quo, right? Which that in that clip, you heard President Trump asking Tim Cook, the Apple CEO, how much are you going to invest, Tim? Oh, 600 billion. And the same was put to Mark Zuckerberg, who also said 600 billion. But the background comment the president had made is that tariffs for semiconductors specifically are coming. And it's those that have pledged to invest in the country that will be spared from them. That's why we look at it a little bit like a quid pro quo. But AI is at the heart of this administration's platform, right? Deregulating to allow for faster building of data centers. And those people around the table, bar a few exceptions and missing people, those are the names that are leading on that front.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's funny, Tim and I were talking kind of before going, because it's kind of a little bit remarkable to see these images. And I think there's at times been a love-hate relationship between the White House and Silicon Valley. What?
I was surprised to see Jared Isaacman on the list, Ed, because he was supposed to be administrator of NASA. He's of Shift 4 Payments, of course, somebody you've talked to and you know pretty well. What's good? The president pulled his name from the list and pulled his nomination. Well, why was he there?
I think it's important to tell the truth. I don't know why he was there. In chatting with Jared recently, I don't know that he's worked out what his next thing is going to be. On social media, which is a dangerous place sometimes, a lot of people would have observed that Elon Musk was not at the table. But they would say, oh, who was there representing Elon Musk? Surely it was not Jared Isaacman, because of the situation you just explained, and there were other people there at the table who also have connections to Musk. But yeah, I promise you that when next I speak to him, I will ask him specifically, how'd you end up at that table given the president's recent handling of your nomination?
On the Elon Musk thing, he was asked about this on social media. He replied to somebody and said, I'm not able to make it, but I will have somebody represent me.
That's what I'm alluding to, yeah.
I'm looking at the list right now.
Is that it?
I don't see a representative from Tesla or from SpaceX there.
Yep. I think that we're just going to have to let the reporting be done.
Okay.
And if we still care, we will confirm who Elon's representative at that table was on the night, but we don't know.
Does he really care? Because I don't know, he might get a compensation package worth about $1 trillion. So is it really that important anymore? What do we know about this?
Yeah, I think it's been a very long day reading a 300-page document, and there's so much detail in it. The simplest way of putting it is $1 trillion after 10 years if a very large number and sequenced series of events take place. Tesla and Musk have to meet many operational and financial milestones for the full trillion to be realized. And there are many other safeguards and securities from Tesla and Tesla shareholder standpoint baked into the proposal that would keep Musk focused on the task at hand. We can get into them, but for example, in order to access the last 2 tranches of stock, Musk has to pay for them up front, almost like an option's being exercised at the price that the shares closed September 1st, but he also has to participate and sign off on the succession plan. So he has to work on his own successor in year 8, 9, and 10 in order to get to not just the reward from money, right? We're not talking just about compensation, but in his case, he wanted the voting rights as well. And they're staggered over that 10 years.
So who is this a win-win for? And I only ask because Tom Maloney has also put out a story, Bloomberg News, and says that Elon Musk got this $1 trillion with genuine threats to quit Tesla. So was the company really worried about losing Elon? So was he in the driver's seat on this? Because this package sounds like there are some guardrails around Elon in a big way.
Yes, Tom Maloney has reported it beautifully. If you don't read the full 300-page proxy, read Tom's report. The committee representing the board met with Elon Musk 10 times in negotiation of this package. They delayed the annual shareholder meeting as they negotiated this package. They hired a number of outside firms and advisors to get the package at least over the line. I say over the line, it still has to be voted on by shareholders in November. Musk's point was, if you do not give me this voting power of 25% or greater, I will go and do the things that I'm interested in elsewhere, XAI, SpaceX, etc. What did the board get in return? section A51 or page A51 of the proxy, point number 2, we have got reassurances from Elon Musk that he will wind down his political activity. So it's not sort of blanket all going to Elon. You know, the board has made, including with the operational goals they've set for Elon, like these are really hard. They've got things to protect them in making sure Elon Musk is focused at the same time.
Yeah, $8.5 trillion in market cap from $1.1 trillion today, Ed. How does Tesla get there over the next 10 years?
Yes, so Tesla has a market cap today of about $1 trillion, and one of the financial milestones for Elon to realize the full trillion of comp is for it to get to $8.5 trillion. It's very interesting when you set that against the operational goals. The operational goals are very much in line with AI. Grow a robo-taxi fleet to 1 million units. Robo-taxis, 1 million taking people on ride-sharing platform. 1 million humanoid robots. But the board also tucked in there a goal for Elon Musk to sell 20 million Tesla vehicles total and deliver them to consumers. And it shows that the board fought to keep Elon Musk focused on Tesla's bread and butter business, even in the likelihood that that $8.5 trillion value in the long run is more closely aligned to the big robotics and AI stuff than it is in the sort of now sort of archaic business of building vehicles and selling them to consumers. You know, that's kind of how I think the market looks at it.
God, that's massive. Are we even crazy to think about an $8.5 trillion market cap for Tesla?
When I first moved to California in 2018, which ain't that long ago, right? NVIDIA was a company that made GPUs that for video game developers and went into high-end consoles and computers for video games. It was a few $100 billion. It's now a $4 trillion market cap company. It's the easiest example for me to cite over a period of less than 10 years of a company dumping in trillions of dollars of value.
Can I just ask you why all this stuff about Elon's compensation is happening now? Is it just they were having meetings and it's all coming out? Is there anything about the time or what?
Well, a proxy needs to be filed in advance of an annual shareholder meeting, right? Okay. And the annual shareholder meeting has to happen at some point. It's happening in November. So there's a chronology to it and the auditors have to prepare it. That's quite boring, but that's part of the answer.
One of the things we need to ask, too, is that the shareholders are going to decide, too, if Tesla should invest in his AI startup xAI. Significant?
Yes.
I mean, it does feel like Elon's rolling everything into one, or wants to.
This is a shareholder-initiated proposal. Many shareholders tried to get the proposal on the docket. In the end, they went with just one by a single retail shareholder. xAI... You can use Grok. I used it this morning, a voice assistant-based chatbot in Tesla vehicles. Bigger picture, xAI has a very different model to, say, Anthropic and OpenAI. Despite all the headlines about all the money those two AI startups have, OpenAI and Anthropic, they basically lease the data center capacity. They don't own the assets outright. xAI does. It's committing tens of billions of dollars to buy the GPUs and put them in a data center. So, you know, the rationale is that there's synergies, that the work xAI is doing on software can benefit Tesla owners and Tesla vehicles. But it's also a bit of a lifeline. And if you'll allow me to do the plug, I'm going to write about this in my newsletter and column on Monday, because, you know, that's the thing that shareholders also have to face. You know, does xAI on paper have the ability to stand on its own 2 feet? Or is this going beyond an investment by Tesla? Is it a bailout of one Elon Musk company of another?
Ed, just in the last 40 seconds, to push back on this a little bit, as Mark Gurman has told us, some of the LLMs and the tech, there's a concern that this could be a bit of a commodity.
Correct, and also the benchmarking figures for Grok 4 are very good. But again, it's a business model-based thing. Elon Musk is committed to moving super quick, committing capital to buying GPUs, and the model's completely different. Again, it is not a binding proposal. It is a shareholder-initiated one. And if it's successfully passed in November, then the board needs to look at it and decide if it is a prudent and beneficial thing to Tesla to make that investment. But as I reported earlier in the year, SpaceX has put $2 billion into xAI.
Right.
So why not Tesla?